welcome to Culture News. We're here to discuss all the microcosms of life. You know, little bits of culture here and there. You got 3 hosts. There's me and my other 2 co-hosts. Come and enjoy with us. Listen in.
Oh, goodness.
Yes. Oh, we're recording.
Yeah.
Okay.
We live.
So how you want to start this off, Mr. Ogando?
I mean, I guess we could talk about the name since we were starting on that.
Yeah.
Culture nerds.
I sort of took on the moniker, and I'm passing it on to these 2 guys.
Mm-hmm.
One guy and gal.
Thank you.
We're inclusive out here.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I guess culture nerd is the way that I define my curiosity for the world when, every single aspect of life has these cultures. Like doctors have their own way of speaking, their own jargon. Accountants do as well.
Yeah.
Different types of artists talk about a lot of different types of things. And when I find somebody who's really passionate about what they love, I don't care what it's about. I just love hearing about it. Like, I love someone being so impassioned about what they care about that it pulls you in.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think we all individually have access to so many different little cultures, like the video game culture.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge fan of anime. And I know a lot of people are going to hit me on this if there are anime people who are listening. Mm-hmm. But I'm a dub guy. I'm not a sub guy. And we will introduce you to that. Right. This is why we're here. She's not familiar with it. Tell them why you're not familiar with it.
Because I'm not a gamer.
You talk about anime.
I don't watch anything.
Oh, man. But, I mean, I guess we'll start introducing the hosts that we have here. My name is Joe. I'm your first guy. I don't know. I gotta come up with like a weird,
why you gotta be the
second
first?
stage. Okay, I'm sorry. No, I'll be last.
Oh,
can I be last?
No, you don't.
We'll cut it. Don't worry, we'll cut it.
We're gonna replace your name.
We'll cut it.
Okay. So hi everyone. My name is Jadira. I also go by Jaddy.
All right, and my name is David, and I go by Mac. And if you don't know, you need to know.
Ooh.
Yeah.
we got experience over on that side. You know what I'm saying? He's
right?
already got like a name and like a catchphrase. I'm behind.
The vlogging just does that. That's all. I've been vlogging for too long. So.
How long have you been vlogging?
Probably for like 7 years. Yeah, but it's alright. YouTube's a whole different animal, so it's like.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I kind of quit after a while, so I vlog very, very short. Like, hey, you get one every quarter of the year. Like that's pretty much it.
Okay.
During quarantine, I did a lot, but I stopped when I started playing ball again. That's kind of what it was. I wanted to start a series, just like my life in quarantine, and kind of make it all dark and grim. But then after a while, I was like, I couldn't even keep up with it. My consistency is bad with vlogging too, so that's pretty much me. But yeah, that is who I am.
Nice.
Do you prefer like a written medium better than more of a audio or like performative medium?
Performative. I like to be out there. I want to show it. I want to have something there. And on top of that, I don't script anything either. So everything's freestyle right off the top. In that moment, go for it. That's whatever happens. That's kind of the way it rolls on that one.
It's so funny because when we had our first Zoom call, after I got off, my wife basically goes, you sounded a little weird at the end there. What was that like? Yeah, like for real dog, and like da-da-da. Like,
she called you out.
That was her whole thing, right? And I was just like, oh no. Was I being fake? You know what I mean? Like I was so thrown aback into a space of anxiety.
Oh,
Just like, no, I didn't feel like I was being disingenuous, please. Like,
you were just excited.
But, like, I can see what she probably meant in the sense that, like, I'm really extroverted and I'm performative. I'm
yes,
very, like,
you are.
Hey, out here. But not really interacting with a ton of people a lot. That like extroversion kind of gets like built up, and so like I'll start. You know, the second somebody actually wants to have a conversation, I'm just like, oh my god, yes, man. Please let me talk to you. I want to talk to you. I have so many things to say. Listen to me, please. And I have to like, you know, to keep normalcy in the world. Right. I have to like go, yes, of course, certainly, and I will speak a little bit here and interject a little, but my like inside, say all the things.
Right. So you just have it all scripted out.
Say them all. Why are you not saying them? No, it's just like I have like it really is how I express myself, just like out loud.
Oh, Joe, I've missed you.
And you've done theater at some point?
Yeah. I remember, oh man. Okay, so I'll tell the story.
Go for it.
I'll tell the story of auditioning for BAA.
Oh, okay.
Where I was totally unprepared. I showed up, it was funny because I originally signed up to go to BAA to be a visual artist. Let's say I was not up to snuff. Okay.
All right.
Let's say at the time I was a bit delusional about my skill as a visual artist.
Okay.
But I, you know, BAA lets you audition for 2 majors, and I can't, you know,
dance.
Well, I can dance, but I'm not classically trained.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not classically trained.
Okay.
I can't sing, not really.
So that takes a big part of it.
And I can't play an instrument. So I had theater left. And I was like, oh, sure. Like, let's do it. I'll give it a shot. I'll roll the dice. And I showed up, and they were like, so, what monologue will you be doing today? And I went, huh?
I was about to say, you had nothing in your stash.
I'm sorry, what now? And Mrs. Rodriguez.
Oh, Lord.
Mrs. Rodriguez.
What did she say?
She goes, do you not have a monologue? And I was like, no, I don't. Like, I didn't tell her I didn't know what that was.
Oh, man.
You didn't even know what that was?
No. I didn't know what it was.
So you just faked it till you got there.
Yeah. But she went, okay, cool, we're going to do sort of like a role play.
Okay.
At least she
And
gave you a
she
chance.
goes, oh yeah, she gave me a super chance.
All right.
There was a time, probably like 2 years in, where one time she was talking to the class and she goes, some of you were lucky to be here. And it was like a time we were fucking off or whatever. And I thought, oh shit.
You're so sunk.
Was she talking to me specifically? Because I'm thinking back to this story of like, you know, her being like, you don't have a monologue? So she goes, okay, you're going to speak to your brother who's on the other, you know, on the other side of the building in the window behind us.
Okay.
And you're just going to improvise a conversation with him that, you know, you're trying to have.
Right.
And I did. I do not remember what the conversation was about.
Yeah.
But I think eventually it devolved into like some kind of argument or whatever.
Really?
And I'm like, what do you know? You can't do that. Or like, you know, it just became a whole thing.
Yeah.
But in that sense, was she replying as your brother, or you're just going off thinking of a conversation?
No, I don't remember her like adding the second bit of dialogue. Okay. You know? I truly just remember like me having like just imagining what the other dialogue was and just responding in tow. And she was like, okay, cool. You know, thank you. We appreciate it. You know, we appreciate your time. Like, she spoke to me for a little bit about, like what my background is and my history and whatever. And I think she asked me like, oh, like what were you thinking about when you were doing the whole thing? And, you know, I expressed like, oh, I talk to my brother sometimes and he like frustrates me and like blah, blah, whatever. Man, and I just remember getting that letter in the mail. I was like, I wanted to go to BAA so bad. Like, if I hadn't gone to BAA, I would have gone to, damn it, what's that school right next to Madison?
O'Brien?
Yeah, right. The O'Brien school
that is the same.
Of math and science or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I took that IC test. But, yo, I wanted to go to BAA so bad. And I got that letter. I remember getting the letter and just running around my apartment. Like, I ran around my apartment. And I was legit not, like, expecting it to be theater. And I was just like, I don't care. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't care.
You just want to get in.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It doesn't matter. And I went in and just started taking theater classes, and I just went,
this is it.
Wow.
I'm here, bro. Like, this is it. Like, when I got out of high school, my like specific plan was to be like, I'm gonna hit this college, I'm gonna be in there for 4 years, I'm gonna get out, and I am going to do this. Like, I was just like, this whole college thing is really just to like have like the the education, you know, everybody always tells you gotta go to college, you gotta get this, you gotta blah, blah. Yeah. Honestly, not sure how I feel about it. That's something we can certainly discuss at another time.
Yep.
But
we all got stories.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
So I don't know, Mac, if you wanna maybe tell us your story, how you got into art or how you.
So no, absolutely. So in my pursuit of nothing, I'll definitely say it like that. I was told to do a play. So I was in 6th grade, going into 7th. My older sister, who was 2, 3, I think she's about 3 years older than me. So she gets out of middle school, goes into high school, but she told the music teacher in middle school that I was coming. So the next year I get there and they talk about this play. I used to sing in the choir at church. That doesn't mean I'm a singer. I just said I used to sing in the choir at church. It's definitely a difference.
Hey, he was a singer at some point. You know what I'm saying?
But the funny thing is, just because of my voice is the only reason why I stayed in chorus. Like, I stayed through chorus from literally middle school all the way to high school. Like, all the way through. So, anywho, it took a turn for the worse. So, in the pursuit of just being in class and just trying to get a good grade, they said, hey, Mr. Thompson, you know what? I heard that you used to sing in church, so you know what? We're doing a play, and it's called Into the Woods, and we want you to be in it. And I'm like, cool, let's do it. Like, I've never done this. Yeah, rehearsal, or not even rehearsal. They just put me in, and the expectations of who I was preceded me in a way. Like, it didn't sound too good. So they wanted me to sing before, you know, all right, we're going to give you the lines, you're going to go over the lines, and you're just going to sing this song. Sung the song terribly. And I was a lead role. I was supposed to be, I don't know if you know the story of Into the Woods, but it's like literally all of the fairy tales in one, all the fairy tales in one story. So you had Rapunzel, you had Cinderella, and all that. So just to push the story along, didn't get that role. Then they were like, okay, we want you to be Rapunzel's prince. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to be Rapunzel's prince because I'm going to be singing. So then after that, they still was like, hey, you know what, David? We want you in this play. We want you in. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to create a person who doesn't exist and make you in the play. I had one line the whole play. I played Cinderella's father, I think.
Okay.
Or Cinderella's stepfather. Cinderella's stepfather, something like that. My only line, and I remember it to this day, I come out, I had a Burberry wool suit on, walk out with gray hair, mustache, the carriage is waiting, and walk out.
Really?
The only line in the whole play. I was like, yo, if y'all didn't create this bootleg person just for me to be in, I felt like I was a token for a while. But I was like, yo, you know what? I'll make the best of it. Then after that, fast forward, you know, I'm still in chorus because then puberty hit and, you know, the voice octave drops and a lot of other things drop. So getting to this.
Lord. Sir.
Yeah,
Clutch my pearls for a little bit.
So then I get up in chorus and then I went from a tenor to a baritone and they're like, oh yeah, you're great. All I did was hold a note. Then after that, I got into rapping. I was always a rapper. I was always into it, but I guess me rapping kind of took the whole story of everything else. It was like, oh, you're a rapper. That means you must be good at acting because you do this, you do that. I didn't think of that at all. I just rap. I just hold the microphone and just say words. I do poetry, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Then
there's a whole lot of like down talking of like beautiful, delicious talent in here.
Right?
That, like,
that's not
I feel like
maybe we can just take some of those out. You know what I mean? We can just say I rap. Hey, I got some songs that I rapped on. I'm not saying I'm GOAT out here, but
it's just something that myself. You know it's something myself I did not pursue. I'll say it that way. Cool. Okay. Not downplaying anybody else's story. That. But then, ironically enough, fast forward, my mentor, who kind of told me to do everything, he put me in a play, and I was a lead role, and I was scared and nervous as all heck. And it was basically a remix story of Adam and Eve.
Okay.
Yep, sounds good so far. It's a remix story of Adam and Eve because instead of it being the apple and whatever, it was more of a story of me being Adam. Mm-hmm. Eve is whoever you want her to be. Either could be my sister, it could be my partner. It was so ambiguous because that's not the focus of the point. The whole story was that me and her are a musical talent together, and we were supposed to get signed to this label, and then the label that we wanted to go to was okay, but then there was another one that all the stuff and just disclaimer of that play, I can't say too many details, but
wait a minute, did the record label just want to sexualize Eve? Is that
that's exactly what it was. Exactly what it was. And me being Adam, I rapped my way through the play. So that's what it was. So in the pursuit of acting in that case, I didn't look forward to it, but I got put in those roles and it came out pretty good. So due to social media and how it is, Vine was a big thing. So acting on Vine was a very plus. Then Instagram, I know, rest in peace, Vine. Then Instagram came out with it. Then Snapchat came out with the stories. And then here's TikTok. So in all those things, acting still played a part in there. But it was all for just to do it, I guess. I never pursued it. But, for the people that do, kudos to them. Because it's a hard job. It definitely is. What about you for yourself?
So ever since I was a kid, I knew I wanted to be a performer. And I was delusional. I thought I could sing. My sister was like, no, Johnny, you can't. You need to stop. And then in middle school, I didn't pass the school exams. So I was assigned to go to Madison. And I was like, yo, I'm not going to survive Madison. Like, I'm too fragile.
Oh, no.
Yo, you know what's crazy is you don't understand how many times I talk to someone like I know. And they're like, oh, I was actually supposed to go to Madison or like John O'Brien. And I'm just like, so would we have like still
cross paths?
Right.
Hit each, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many like weird directions that you can go.
Yeah.
But please.
Interesting. So BAA was still small, and they were doing a tour around different middle schools, and they came to mine. And the first group to present was theater, and so they went down the line. It was like 3 kids doing theater, then 3 or 4 kids doing dance. So anyways, so I'm in the auditorium and I'm looking at this, and I was like, yo, this is dope. Like, I think I want to go there. I know I want to go there. Right. And then I remember I think it was like either that same day or the next day during lunch, I started to pretend to cry. And my friends believed me, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And I put my head in my arm, and I was like, "Jadira, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm doing this theater thing." So I told my family, and my sister's been so supportive since day one. She found me a monologue online that was about this rag doll that's so sad that her owner, Sally, or whatever the hell the kid's name was, wasn't playing with her. I barely memorized the monologue. I was so nervous. But when I got there, they were like, all right, improvise. Like, I literally was stuck. And they were like, all right, start again. And we're going to have you pretend like you're trying to avoid mines on the floor. And you have to say the lines and just keep going until you reach us at the table that we're at. So start by the mirror and walk your way over. And I did the monologue, and they're like, all right, go ahead, sit down. I was like, I don't know if I did it right. Okay, whatever. I get the letter in the mail, and I'm like, whoa! Yes. I'm going.
Hey.
And ever since then, it's kind of been in my life. Like, when I graduated BA, I tried to be normal, and I tried to fit into this whole, like, just study something that you know is going to get you money, or, you know?
Yeah.
But I couldn't, and I started going into, like, this kind of depression, because it was just like, I know I need to do art. I just don't have an avenue anymore, because my mentors, they were my teachers, and they're in high school, and now I'm an adult.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until my homegirl Vero hit me up about, like, hey, I'm working with this theater company, Escena Latina Teatro, and we need somebody to do tech. And I remember you used to do tech in school, so do you want to, like, help us out real quick? We're going to be at the RCC Theater. Mm-hmm. And I was like, bet, I'll be there. And I was there turning on and off the lights, doing the movie cue for when it's supposed to come out. And I haven't turned back since.
Wow.
Man.
That's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gotta credit Escena Latina real. Like, they also brought me back, you know, a couple of times. So they've been a real through line in my artist journey, which I really appreciate. It's
Seriously.
it's nice to have like a group who thinks of you like that.
Literally.
Yeah. But, like, I agree with you on so many different things where I'm just like, I went a more traditional way where I went, you know, I gotta get, you know, graduate from college or whatever, and I took a side, you know, education trying to, like, get a trade and be an electrician and whatever.
Yeah.
But at some point I was just burnt out. You know what I mean? I couldn't deal with it anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was just like, what am I even doing this for? It felt like every day, what am I even doing this for?
Yeah.
And that was awful.
That's a tough place.
And really the times that, like, I get back to my creativity, to, like, interacting with folks who are also creative like me, those are always the best, I don't know, sort of like the best times. It's not even like, you know, I gotta be honest, I always am attracted to artists just because they feel a lot more open, and a lot of people generally are not, and that makes me feel very unheard. It makes me feel very unseen.
I was gonna say underappreciated, because then you're along with a community of people that know the work that you're doing, that want to take part in it, and both of you all either are not getting attention elsewhere, and y'all are giving each other that attention, which makes that bond between other artists even better. So that's definitely understandable.
Like, I mean, when you said I just couldn't be normal, I'm so unable to be normal all the time.
Sheesh.
It's so exhausting.
I know, because it's like you feel like you have to be restricted. It's just like, okay, everybody's sitting up straight, I gotta sit up straight. Everybody's speaking this way, I gotta speak this way. And if you like, for me, I became a medical assistant because I needed a trade. I needed to learn something. I needed to make money. In college, obviously, I, like, dropped out. So being in that culture of healthcare, it was intriguing to me, because it was just like, yes, I get to learn all these new things, and a lot that has helped me throughout my life thus far. But it's so academic and so logical and so restricted, and so like it has to be a certain way that whenever I would speak to the other medical assistants, like, yo, I'm doing a play, like, you know, if you want to come through, it's free, you can come see it, and nobody would show up, it'd be like, damn, but you say you're my homegirl, but I'm telling you about this thing and you're not coming to it, and at work I'm like straight like trying to restrict any bit of joy or extrovert. No, I'm not extrovert. But you know what I'm trying to say.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And it's the realm of the people that you have met that see you in one light. Like, you know, shout out to Kanye, because even though you said you're a college dropout, shout out to Kanye. But besides that, people wanted him to just rap or just make beats. Then he was like, yo, I can rap too. Nobody respected him. Then he started rapping. And then now, look where he's at now. Obviously, that's a long path. However, people are questioning and actually arguably debating the fact that he could be a genius. So it's like, in that same manner, it's the realm of the people that you're around that kind of made you feel like that. And I think I can completely understand that too. Because if you see people at work, you expect them to do work stuff. So doing something outside of work, like, hey, this is kind of who I am.
Yeah.
But I see you do this at work. That's the only thing I look at. So that opportunity kind of, I hate when that happens. I invited somebody to my play too, and they just didn't show up. I know that.
And it's a bummer, right?
It is. It definitely is. But
I mean, to reach out and verify that advice, shout out to my therapist, Unicorn. Hey.
word.
I'm obviously not going to say his name on here, but that's his nickname.
And shout out to you, Unicorn.
Get it,
so
Unicorn.
he's basically telling me the same thing. You know what I mean? He's basically like, you know, there are certain people that are around you that people tell you a lot more about them than they're necessarily telling them about you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because they always tell you, like, oh, you know, you're being like this, or you know what I mean? Like, you're treating me unfairly. A lot of the times they're telling you, like, maybe I don't necessarily feel like I'm treating you fairly.
I see what
so
you're
now
saying.
you know what I mean? Of course, if I'm not treating you fairly, you must not be treating me fairly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get so caught up. Yeah, you get so caught up in that idea that it becomes the way that you see the world. And like you said, you project it out into it.
All right. When I was in high school, like, I think one of the biggest pictures that made me realize that is because I was in so many circles that it was blurry after a while. Because me as one person, so in high school, 9th grade, I was put into ROTC. Due to middle school troubles or whatever, I moved on. They were like, you need to go to RC, you need to go to high school, and when you go, you're gonna go into the JROTC. So I went to that program, then I enjoyed it. So now I'm around other people that enjoy military, you know, that structure. But like I said, I'm a big hip hop head on top of that. So I'm with the rappers, beatboxers, b-boys, like I'm with them. Then I said I was in chorus. So I'm in chorus with all the theater people. I was in there with some real big actors and singers. I'm involved with so many people. So when it's like, hey, I have our JROTC tournament, I'm in the drill team, they're not showing up to that. But if I was like, hey, I'm going to cabaret, they're gonna be there.
Yeah.
If I'm doing an open mic night and I'm doing poetry, other people aren't gonna be there. So I already formatted a way that if you're not in that realm, you're not gonna be there.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's deeper than that because it goes into family, and like I'm a middle child, so the attention is everywhere else but on me. So then I'm like, I'm only gonna grab the attention of the people that want to be there. I'm not gonna look for it, and that's the way I kind of perceived it. Yeah. So as I grew up, that's kind of what made me become introverted in a way, because it's like, you're not here already, I'm not gonna include you. Yeah. But I feel bad because it backfires, because now people are like, we want to see what you do, we want to come out. But I won't tell nobody. I won't tell my family when I'm rapping. Yeah. I'm going to play basketball and not telling certain people that I think would want to be there, because I mentally put myself in that box that you're not going to be there. So I'm not going to put myself in a place to get hurt. So yeah, no, that definitely hit. That's definitely, I definitely feel it.
I've been working on, like, let's say, reaching out without expectation. Like that's something I've really been working on. But I'll ask you guys this.
Word.
do you guys, I related to when you were like saying like, oh, I jumped around a lot of groups and everything like that. And like, I feel like I've done that. And it weirdly made me feel like, without knowing, it was training me for this path in theater. So that became like my primary path. Because I used to do that a lot. And like, you know, in elementary school, I'd be like, I was always the observer where I was like, oh, like, why are people like in groups and why are they liking people and like, what are they, you know what I mean? It first became like, oh, all the boys are with the boys and they do boy stuff. And I didn't know enough about the boy stuff to like be convincing, right? So I had to like step back and just kind of be like, oh, they like talking about the cars and the this and the sports is the big thing.
Right.
And I would just start mimicking, and I would like bounce from like group to group to group to group.
Yeah.
And it gave me that real experience of like, I'm not entirely sure which group I entirely belong to, but I started to just compress them all into like my own personal identity.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like that's how I've been able to sort of compartmentalize it.
Yeah.
But I feel like, and I know a lot of people use this word, but I feel genuinely like an artist. I know theater is my like primary or more well-crafted craft than any of my other ones.
Right.
But like, if I could make music, I would, you know what I mean? Like, I would make music. If I had enough time to like learn how to beat build, I would probably do that. You know, I've done editing before. I did a bunch of like filming and like editing for in high school. Me and my friends would just run around. I would run around with a fucking camcorder.
I remember those
and
days.
it was crazy. Like, it was one of like the little ones or whatever.
And it had
like
an actual tape.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, I had one of those.
And I just ran around just like videotaping all of our interactions. You know what I mean? And like at the end of it, I like even went in and, you know, reformatted everything and made like a sort of like timeline and different sections and all this kind of other stuff, just because I love doing that.
You're an early vlogger, sir.
Yeah, so like in the, you know, in the sense of just like getting out and creating something, like even if another artist is just like, hey, I like kind of want to collab on this and blah, 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 blah. As long as I can like, you know, I don't have like a ton of time. You know, I'm out here, family man, got a daughter to raise and all that, trying to make some money, make sure she's, you know, okay. But like those little bits of time, like I know you're like, oh, I don't invite people to this stuff or whatever. I would be one of the people in the room that was like, oh shit, you're doing that. And like if you were just like, no, yeah, I like it because of this and this and that, and like I could just see the passion in it, I was like, man. Like if I won't tell you I'll necessarily go if I can't go. Because I hate when people do that.
That happens so many times. So
I hate when people do that. You know what I mean? And it's fine. You can just be like, listen, I would love to, but like my daughter, I gotta take care of my daughter. I gotta pick up my, you know, my mom from the grocery store every Friday or whatever it is. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can usually tell when somebody's just bullshitting you.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I've never been able to get rid of is my bullshit meter. I immediately am just like, I hate this. I don't want to do this anymore. Okay, go.
Oh man.
Go. Shoot.
Nah. I deflect and immediately talk to somebody who I know would actually try to be there, or like I would deflect that whole conversation. Like, okay, you're not going. The BS meter is way too high. I'm chilling. That's how you feel. All right. See you later. Have a good one. Call the one person and be like, yo. Yeah, you wanna know what just happened? And then let them know what happened, and then you know I feel better on top of that. Like, even if they don't go, but you have to pour that crap out. Just get that joint out of there. I can't stand that. I've had so many shows, and the thing is to backfire even my own statement. I actually have a couple of friends who do show up to everything. They came to my basketball games, went to my plays, and it was like, oh, I appreciate it, and I feel great that they came. But
the real ones, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Real ones.
And they recently had a birthday party, and I was like, yo, you know what? I wasn't gonna go. Like, I had my own personal stuff I was dealing with, but in the moment I was like, nah, I'm not gonna go. I realized all the things that they came through. I'm like, you know what? Forget all that. I'm going. When is it? What's the date? I'll be there.
Yeah.
Man,
So
I gotta give you a quick.
oh, I appreciate it.
Because you know the self-awareness of like
right,
you know, thinking of your friends being like, oh, they're gonna have a birthday party, and you know what, they showed up for me a lot. You know what I mean? I might not want to go, but like I'll show up. Like I don't think a lot of people do that very often. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So you know, kudos.
I appreciate it.
Because that's really not something people do a lot of the time. And I try and do that too. Like I try and have that, you know, when a friend of mine is like, oh, I want you to, you know, come over for this or help me move. Just even
that's different.
Or all right. But I'm just saying, depending on levels.
Yes,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean? I would never come on, Mac. I would never call you to help me move.
I understand.
You haven't ascended to said moving assistance. You know what I mean? I haven't buttered your bread enough.
Texas
to
Roadhouse?
get you there.
Texas Roadhouse or Red Lobster?
No. Texas toast. Texas.
Oh, Texas toast.
You know
Okay.
what I mean?
Make sure. All right.
You know what I mean?
I have never.
Garlic butter.
Garlic butter. Ooh.
Yeah. Garlic salt too. Ooh.
Wow.
Get your fancy with
Right.
Oh, for real.
But yeah.
No, it's different.
Yeah.
Garlic salt is different. What was you talking about?
No, you just said you haven't buttered bread, and obviously for me to get to that level. So when you said buttered bread, I was like, yeah.
But I mean, like, if I've known somebody for years, right? And let's say, for example, they call me and they're like, hey, I need to go to the airport or something. Can you drive me to the airport? And I've driven them to the airport a couple times. No big deal. Like, I didn't do it in the sense of thinking like, oh, one day you're going to drive me to the airport. Like, that's not what I was thinking when I did it. But I do feel some kind of way when I call you and I'm like, yo, can you drive me to the airport?
You'd be like, nah.
And all I ever hear is, well, I mean, like, the thing is, and, you know what I mean? Like, it
Shoot me a question.
it's like, okay, I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. Like, it really starts to disconnect me from that person. And I think, like, that for me is really hard, like, as an extrovert. And I've struggled with this balance of, like, because I don't know if you guys, like, have studied, like, negotiation and, you know,
not
making friends and influencing people and that sort of stuff. But, like, for lack of a better word, it's just these, like, psychological tricks to essentially manipulate someone into feeling how you want them to feel.
Okay.
And then you can use that to sort of guide them in a more particular way that you may want them to behave.
Yes.
Right?
You put
But
that
that
you put that in a very educated form, but I completely understand it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was really good.
Oh,
Get it, Joe.
oh man, I feel smart.
What?
But
So you trigger people.
I always feel very unethical in that sense. It, you know, and this is not to say that salespeople are, you know, bad people, but I've never felt super great about how sales pitches kind of come off. You know what I mean? They've always made me recoil. So when I'm interacting with someone and I'm going, hey, I'm going to project this idea of what I think you are, that then is going to psychologically corner you to try and represent that example, I don't feel good about the connection I'm making with you right now.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And that, I hate that. Like, the times I feel best are the times that I pull my mom aside and I'm like, here's the thing, Mom. I smoke. We're just going to have to deal with it. Okay? I'm not going to pretend like it's not happening. I'm not going to come in the house and be like, I don't smell like pot, but I do.
Right.
Like, it just feels so freeing. That, like, I can't, that's how I can't not be normal. Normal people don't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like normal people are just like, okay, cool. Repress. We're all good. And then they're like, go about their business. I can't do it. I literally am just like, guys, real quick. I know everybody's super happy and everything, but just real quick, the house is on fire. Can we
get an extinguisher?
I understand that I'm the only one that gives a shit about this right now, but like,
right.
I feel like I shouldn't be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, I can't get past that sort of thing.
I could say that's tough for me. I do have the too cool personality though. Like, I think I learned from my father to never let people see you sweat. And I have that mentality, and I compartmentalize a lot of stuff. Even if it is a big thing, I'm like, I'm gonna just handle it on my own. I don't need, yet again, I'm cutting you off. Like, you weren't here during the process, so you have nothing to do with me on the inside. So in certain moments that it's like blowing up, nah, it's cool, man. Everything's good. The house is on fire. Somebody can get a fire extinguisher. So the same person that'd be like, can we get one? I'm the other side. Somebody can get the fire extinguisher. That's something else. But on the inside, I'm freaking out just as much as you are. But the way I put it off is, not right now. Like, it's not. It's on the top floor. It's gonna take a while before it gets to us. But yeah, I know that.
I feel like I'm almost a combination of the two of you in the sense of like, I'm the type of person that I'll say something and I'll be like, hey, something's going on here, but like, I don't know, you tell me, like, this is what I'm seeing.
Am I the only one seeing this? Yeah.
Right?
That's a good one.
But at the same time, if some shit's going down, for me personally, I'm so used to doing things on my own that I'm not going to ask you for help. And I'm not going to let you see that I'm fucking struggling. How you doing, Jelly? I'm good. How you doing? God bless. God got me.
Right.
I'm good. And I think that's what kind of, to the point that you were making of like how you connect with people, I feel like that's what kind of strengthens my introvertedness, because it's like, that's what keeps me from fucking with a lot of people. Sorry if you want to cut that out.
No, I don't.
That's fine.
We could, I mean, I feel like you being a God-loving man, you might want to, have your take on this. But me personally, I don't give a fuck.
Hey, to each their own. As long as you're not swearing
I
at
like
me.
this guy.
Right?
Mac is.
As long as you're not swearing
that.
around me, then I guess, swearing at me, I guess we cool.
Oh, no,
and it's
no.
a form of expression, so it's not like you're calling somebody out. So we're good. Continue on.
Okay. That's why I don't mess with a lot of people, because it's one of those, like, I'm the type of person that if I call you my friend, you're my friend.
Ooh.
Right.
Like, I don't do that. Like, if I say that I'm cool with you, that's what I mean. If I say I love you, that's what I mean. I'm not fake about it.
No.
Like,
Question.
Yeah.
Where did that resonate? Where it stuck the most? Like, where did it start from?
Ooh, where did it start from?
Because it had to be an early friendship that effed up.
Yeah, it must have been, right? I feel like it was a combination of I would move around a lot when I was a kid, so I jumped around different elementary schools, and it was kind of like no friendships really stuck through. It was just like, I'm here, I'm gone, the interaction is done, moving on to the next.
Yo,
And then
Johnny, why are your childhood and my childhood the same childhood?
Wow.
Like,
I don't know.
I don't think I spent more than a year at any given elementary school.
Yeah.
Word.
So that's very much my experience.
Yeah. It's just like, I'm here, we're good, I move on, we're done. But it wasn't in a malicious way. It wasn't like I don't want to be. It's just that's how it worked out. And then I feel like around when I was like 18, 19, I was part of a clique, and somehow I got out of the clique somehow. Shit went down. And after that, it was just like, no. Like, if I say I'm cool with you, that's what I expect in return.
Word.
And so, like, when you were saying the whole moving thing, like, I remember one of my girls, she moved last year, and all I wanted to do was just show up and be like, hey, I just got out of work, you're moving today, you're leaving the state, I just wanted to say bye.
Oof.
Because I care about you that much. And I saw that it was just her and her mom, like, struggling to... So I stayed. I was like, fuck it.
Yeah.
That's how much is how much I care about you. I'll not only show up, but I'll stay to help.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of interaction.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I remember when we used to go out with friends or whatever. Like, let's say we go to like a liquor store or whatever, and you know, maybe our buddies didn't have cash that week or whatever it was. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? My whole thing was never, hey, get me back next time or anything like that. I literally would just walk in and we're like, oh, we said we're gonna get a bottle. Like, if I'm hanging out with you guys and I'm like, yo, y'all want to get a bottle?
Right.
I'm in no way, shape, or form expecting either one of you guys to be like, oh yeah, I got the 20 for the bottle or whatever. Like, if I made that suggestion, I'm going to the store to get us a bottle. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, when my friend would show up with me and just be like, oh, you know, like, I don't really got enough or whatever, it's like, fuck that.
Right.
Like, it's cool. I'm getting this bottle because we gonna drink, we gonna relax, we gonna talk about some shit, you know what I mean? We gonna make some memories.
Right.
I gotta pay $20-$40 to make some memories with my dudes, you know what I mean? Like,
it's worth it.
Absolutely worth it. Now, that does not mean that, you know, on a given night, if my man's is like, hey, you wanna go get a bottle? And I'm like, ugh, you know, I don't really got it tonight. And he's like, I got you. Like, that resonates so hard for me that it's like, when I see that not happen, I go like, oh, okay. And for a long time, like, part of me going through this like drudgery of like depression and anxiety and everything, especially in my 20s, it was like I was seeing a lot of relationships in my life change and shift and like close off in very different ways. And I tried to combat that. I tried to fight it. I tried to be like, guys, like, you guys seem to be closing off. Why are we closing off? Let's not close off. Let's open up more.
Let's hold on.
Do you know what I mean? But I just like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't keep everyone from, you know, doing whatever they were doing.
Yeah.
And then it eventually became this thing where essentially the first time I felt like I had a community in my life, the first time that I felt like these are the group of people that when I'm too weak to hold myself up, which I'm super independent. Like, I'm not out here being like, you know, I need help in this and that. But like, there is something so valuable to me about a friend just being like, hey man, when are you moving? And he's asking me, when are you moving? Because he wants to know so that he's there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because that's who I am.
Right.
If you told me you're moving and you haven't called me and been like, hey, I'm gonna call you and be like, hey, yo, bro, I know you're moving in like a week. You need help?
Right.
I'm off that day. Or you know what? I may not be able to come in the morning, but I'll come at night, maybe help you unpack, whatever it is. At the same time, I'm spending time chilling, shooting the shit with my homie.
And yet again, still making memories.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, I don't ever really look at that as like, but I've found, and you can tell me if this is different for you, because you're self-proclaimed extrovert, Mac.
Yeah.
And we got the introvert in the house, Johnny. Hey, representation out here. All right.
What?
So, like, I've always, as an extrovert, for some reason, have attracted a lot of introverts. And here's my theory on it.
Okay.
Here's my theory on it. And you can totally tell me if this is not in alignment with how you feel.
Okay.
But I think an introvert is sometimes attracted to an extrovert just because an extrovert has the tendency to attract the light. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So like, if you're sitting like beside the spotlight, you're not visible. Right? You have this bright light, just attention. Like, sometimes when I like get all that energy in me, I'm like a siren. And like, my introverted friends were just like, oh my god, I can't take you anywhere. Like, this is, oh my god. Like, it spikes their anxiety so crazy. And like, all of these terms, relatively new terms. Like in like the last decade maybe, which I feel like shouldn't be the case. Because I look back on things that I used to watch as a kid, like Doug.
Oh man, Doug, of course. Doug's classic.
Have you ever gone back and watched Doug?
He's such an anxious being.
What was it?
Yeah,
Killer Tofu.
It's nothing but like an anxious kid thinking of the worst case scenario.
Yes.
And I went, oh, I know why I like Doug now.
I relate.
I was Doug.
Yeah, and who was his hero? Quail Man.
Yeah.
And Quail Man was his inner confidence.
Aww.
Thank you for listening. That was the first episode of Culture Nerds. Conversation continues next week. Hope you enjoyed. See you then.